if you are thinking about going all in on business specifically, this is a video you are going to be very grateful you watched by the end of it. And the reason I say that is because I am someone who made more than many mistakes, more mistakes than I think most people should make on their entrepreneurial journeys, but also in life, to be honest with you. So I think to start off the video, it's always worth going into who I am, why I'm talking about why I'm talking, and how I guess I have expertise, if I even do. I will say quickly, you'll notice people don't really know anything. We cling on to a concept so we feel like we're in control, and then we disprove the concept and we cling on to another one. We don't actually know anything. And that's, I guess, a good intro to the philosophical talk I'm about to have with you. But to give you a bit of like a back frame on who I am, my name is Val. I run a recruitment and management agency, and I also run a coaching company. Unfortunately, we live in a day and time, and we exist in an industry where for you to have authority and know what you're doing, you need to talk about how much you make. So I will say, I'm 19, the businesses are on track to do a combined amount of $70,000 this month, maybe 80, we'll see how things go, just to give you a bit of context. But I'm making this video for the people that are on edge about going all in. And honestly, I think the biggest thing is just it's worth being educated. It is always worth being educated on a matter. If you are about to drop out and go all in on your business, or if you're about to move out and go all in, no matter the circumstance, it is a mental challenge and it's a mental sacrifice, and there are things worth being in the know of, in my opinion. Because I kind of did everything like that. At the start of this year, I turned 19, December 22nd I turned 19, and I dropped out of university. I was doing comp sci for a couple months, and I moved out. And I believe about a month and a half later, I broke up with my ex as well, because I had the belief that you have to sacrifice to get to your desired reality or your desired state, which I was unhappy to find out you don't actually need to. It is purely the perception of sacrifice that makes us feel like we deserve to accomplish something. So, what I want you to know by the end of this video is the mistakes I made, the limiting beliefs I broke, and simply for you to be more educated on the matter and ultimately come up with your own thesis on if it is worth doing it, whatever it is you are thinking about doing. And if this gets 2 views, hopefully this helps you. If this gets 200,000 views, then hopefully it helps you guys as well. Like, it's not even about that, it's just me wanting to put this energy out in the world because I think it is actually really good advice and really good knowledge. Worth keeping in mind, sorry to edge you, but worth keeping in mind. These theses may change. Like, my ideologies will change within the next 6 months. What I believe today won't particularly be true to me anymore in 3, 6 months, 12 months, 18 months. My mind is always evolving. I'm still 19, and that's worth noting as well. So, I want to start off with sacrificing everything. And this is something I touched on very briefly earlier. Our minds think we need to sacrifice to receive, but we don't. There's a part of our brain that thinks, I lived by this ideology for a very long time, and I still do to a degree, that pain comes before growth. And this is where it kind of gets funny, because here's the thing. Pain comes before growth if you believe pain comes before growth. If you genuinely think that you need to sacrifice or lose something, and this is just ingrained in you, childhood traumas, whatever it is, if this is truly ingrained in your mind and you believe you need to endure pain before growth, when you endure pain, your mind will naturally look for growth. The same way when you are on a street and you say, let me look for red cars, you see red cars. If you look for something, you will find it. If you look for growth after you have pain, because you believe that is how you find growth, you will find it. But if you understand that you don't need to endure pain, you won't need to. And I'm going to give you this example. If you're watching this, you're probably an entrepreneur or an aspiring entrepreneur. Even if you're not, it doesn't matter. If you are an individual that stays up late, or you have in the past, or you might in the future, what you'll notice, or you would have noticed, or you notice now, is you might get great ideas at 3 a.m. You're trying to sleep, you turn off your phone, you can't, and you start getting these great ideas. And you're like, yo, this is crazy. I don't get these during the day. And we think it's so sick we're like, yeah, I get great ideas at night. And the minute you put out that thought in the world, and you reply to that thought in your mind, because no thought is your thought until you reply to it. I won't even explain that now. But when you put that thought out in the world, it's funny, because that becomes true to you. And now naturally at 3 a.m. when you can't sleep, your brain will, first of all, the reason you have great ideas at 3 a.m. for example is because you probably try to turn off your phone and you have no distractions, and now your brain actually thinks. You're doom scrolling all day, you're distracting yourself all day, and now you have this little window to think, and that's when you can actually come up with ideas. So you think, oh, it's sick, it's 3 a.m. at that or whatever, but no, it's just the fact that you turn off your phone. And we don't realize that, to be honest, but it's true. And you might notice during the day, oh yeah, but it doesn't happen because I don't watch stuff when I eat. Yeah, but you are still consciously distracted to an extent. At night, you kind of like, you're in a meditative state of letting all your thoughts run their course properly for the first time, probably in a long period of time, because a lot of people hide from their thoughts. But what I'm saying is when you put out that thought in the world that, oh, I had this great idea at 3 a.m. and then you do it again and again, you're like, I get great ideas at 3 a.m. That is essentially a subconscious limiting belief. You are telling yourself, if you say, well, it's a belief. If you say, I have great ideas only at 3 a.m., that is a limiting belief, because you're saying, I only have it. You are restricting yourself to that specific particular window. And when you do it and you believe it, your mind will start acting accordingly. Let me give you an example. I'm 19, and the businesses are going to perform insane this month. In comparison to previous months, we're doing a lot better, and that's because we've been putting in the work, but I also understand we deserve to be higher. My standards are higher than where we are now. My brother, for example, who is 22, doing a plumbing degree, who is not making a crazy amount of money, he put a thought out in the world a few years ago where I wanted to help him get into online stuff because I've been doing it from a young age, and he said, it's not for me. And he said it so much, and he repeated himself over and over and over again. His mind just returned to it. Why don't you do online? Oh, it's not for me. That is a limiting belief, because you now exist in that realm of belief. You limit and suppress yourself and your potentialities. The amount of potential you have in this world is naturally just cut because you put out this bad idea. And it's funny. It's weird. I'm reading a book about it now. It's called 3 Magic Words, and the 3 magic words refer to I am God, but not on a spiritual plane, more on a metaphysical plane, if you will, where it's not spiritual, but it's more so mental. If you believe you can accomplish and do something, you will be able to accomplish and do something. And I'm going to give you another example. This is actually not the greatest example, but we all know that guy who doesn't really go to the gym and he's in great shape. And you're like, yo, how are you in great shape? And he has good eating habits, he does sport, his parents raised him like that. And you think, oh, like, it's genetics. But the thing is, it's just standards. It's like naturally high standards. But for him, it's so normal. Or for you, if you're fat, like I am and I was, it's not normal. Because it's like, we don't subconsciously do it. We have to be very conscious about our eating habits and whatever it might be, but for him, it's different. And it's like, that in his mind is normal, he's naturally going to perform better. In our mind, it's not normal, therefore it feels further away, therefore we pedestalize it, therefore it's more difficult. And when you pedestalize things, that's when it gets tricky, as in financial goals. And I'm going to refer to a lot of these different concepts, but what I'm essentially saying is you don't need to sacrifice. Breaking up with your girlfriend now, and maybe having an extra 2 hours a day, is not going to make you happier. But if you understand how to reframe and you say, hey, let's do this, we'll have Sundays, and I am a big firm believer in taking Sundays off, and I used to think it was the most idiotic thing in the world, but now I fully see the power of having a day where you can just think and reflect and grow. It makes you more charged for the week forward. It brings in the spark and desire to perform, and it makes you realize business is just another aspect of your life. It is not your entire life, which I'll touch on to later. But for you to think, let me break up with my girl so I can go all in, it will do you more harm than good. Because that is when you don't departmentalize, and what I mean by that is you have health, wealth, and relationships. The 3 pillars to a happier life, if you will, according to a lot of philosophers and a lot of individuals. If you neglect health, it will catch up to you. If you neglect wealth, you will have a difficult life. If you neglect relationships, you will have a very difficult life. And we need all 3 to get to a good point. But when you say, oh, I'm not going to talk to this to my girl anymore because I want to lock in. It may feel great now because you feel like you're sacrificing. Naturally, we'll charge you to think you deserve more because you made this major sacrifice. But don't think that. Because if you were doing it, you're not doing it for her. You're not doing it to put her in the best position possible. Truthfully, you're doing it for you. It's a greed thing. It's because you don't want to spend time with her, and this is the excuse. Because if you really cared about her, you would grow together. Don't think you need to sacrifice things to get to where you want to go. Because a lot of your sacrifices, like not going out on, I don't know, Valentine's Day because you want to lock in, it's like kind of idiotic. Like, okay, that's a bad example, but let's say you don't go out for Christmas. You don't have dinner with your family for Christmas. You say, oh, like I need to lock in. That extra hour isn't going to do much. It is the concept of thinking that you sacrificed. Yes, as an entrepreneur, there are periods where you are going to neglect parties or whatever it is you like to do, chilling with your friends, so you can develop a skill set faster, or whatever it is that you do, so you can be fully absorbed and succeed with it. But after a while, you'll notice that kind of fizzles out. After a couple of years in business and entrepreneurship, when your business is doing well and you're not working as much as you did and you delegated and you have a good team, you'll notice very quickly you want your life back, man. And yeah, you will have to endure periods where you don't do as many activities socially as you want to, or whatever it might be. But it's like, don't think you need a sacrifice. Dropping out, it's like you're dropping out because you want to drop out. You're not dropping out because you need to, so you can be more successful. There are variables, and it depends. But don't think you need to sacrifice. Our minds feel like if we sacrifice, we will achieve something. But you don't want to be the individual that realizes, okay, I sacrificed everything and I have no concept of what I'm doing, and now I got nothing. Because you'll see, it's not arguably true. The next thing I want to talk about is businesses in your entire life. And I just mentioned this, as you might have noticed. But, yeah, let me give you this example. I was speaking to an individual today, and this guy, no, I'll actually give you a better example. I believed that business needs to be your entire life. I was watching a show recently called Emily in Paris, and I noticed that a lot of the individuals in that show, obviously it's a TV show, it's not like real, but a lot of the guys in that show are just naturally wealthy. Like, they've developed businesses and they just sustain it. Obviously they're fighting in a higher tax bracket of women or whatever you want to call it, but it is just a standard depending on who you go to. If you are with your hometown boys or your family and you guys don't come from a lot of money, it will not be a standard to have wealth. If you go around individuals that are hardworking and have high standards and take care of themselves and go to the gym and do this, you will naturally find a higher, like a pool of individuals that are naturally more successful. You get to a point where you climb, and now it's just normality to be a millionaire, for example. And it goes back to your standards, which I'm going to talk about too. But understand that after a while, after a couple of years in business, and it took me years to realize this, business is just a part of your life. The same way health is, the same way wealth is. You will not get a better effect in your business by working the extra 2 hours when you could have gone to the gym. Realistically speaking, if you prioritize your health, it will probably pull your business up. You will probably do better. And these are very basic concepts you understand. As your personal life progresses, your business life will progress as well. But what we tend to do as entrepreneurs, we call ourselves, is things start to go well in business, we get a bunch of momentum, and then we neglect everything else that actually got us there. So all the good habits, we cut them off, and then we get pulled back down. And then we got to go back up. And we do it over and over. But let me tell you this, if you just kept the good habits and doubled down on them, like now I just started 75 Hard, and I'm honestly damn near the best shape I've ever been in. Last year I was in better shape a little bit, but I'm getting there. Now I'm starting 75 Hard because I'm telling my mind consciously, I am not where I want to be. Financially, physique-wise, health-wise. Yeah, it's my old standard, it's my old peak, but I want to be further because I understand with everything else going on, I should be further. And as these things drive up, so will every other aspect of my life because I will climb the ladder. But I understand business is just an aspect of my life. And I am fortunate to be able to say that because there are individuals that have to go through trenches for years to get to where they want to be with business. Guess what, man? I've already been there. I've gone through all of that. I'm still going through all of that. Yes, there are periods where you endure the trenches. Yes, there are periods where you don't work. But what I've noticed, and sorry to burst your bubble, but what you'll notice business is you cling onto a business model that works for you. I'll give you this. I watched a video recently where this guy documented his journey to $1 million liquid. And it went Business, he found a business, he got to 100K a month, it went to zero, another one went to zero, another one went to zero, or another one, and then the third one finally, he was still stacking, keep in mind, but that's when it worked. Business isn't gonna always be the same, and that's the whole beautiful thing about it. I was speaking to a billionaire recently. Yes, a billionaire. A year ago, I wasn't really like doing any of this. A year and a bit ago. But a billionaire. And he said, that's the beautiful thing about business. You never really know what's gonna happen. And that's what makes it fun. It's you understanding you could build a business to 6 figures per month and then have it go to zero, but that doesn't mean you made it, bro. Because it's going up and down and up and down and up and down. It's just, are you being conservative? Are you being smart? Are you stacking that cash? Are you investing it? Are you learning skill sets? Hormozi says, you never start from scratch again after the first time. Something like that. After the first time, you never start from scratch again. And that's a beautiful thing. You have the potential to build off everything you've done, everything you've worked for. You may not notice it. Maybe you're in a rut and you haven't done entrepreneurship for a year after trying for years. That's kind of how I felt. Then I got back into it and I got back in so quick. And I scaled and I grew so quick because I had all the previous experience that I forgot about. I never started from scratch again because I had more experience than most people. But most of it was internalized mental experience, handling stress, dealing with things. When I started off, I had more mental limitations than I promise you have. Because I started at a young age where my mind was so molded by the online space. I believed I had to give everything. I neglected grades, I neglected social life, I neglected my childhood to get to where I am. And a lot of people don't do that, but because of that I did so much harm to myself that I had to endure and grow through that. And it's a very tricky thing to do, to be conscious of what you believe and say, hold on, that's not true. For example, I may watch this video back in 3 months and say, hold on, that was stupid. I don't agree with that because I got disproved here. But I refer back. I refer back. We hold on to concepts and we say things are true. So we feel like we know what's going on and we feel like we have control. And then we get disproved and we say, okay, well, it's this. And then we go into the next thing. We don't actually know anything. We just want to feel like we know things because it makes us comfortable. It puts us at peace. But why do you have to be at peace? I ask you that. Why do you have to be at peace? So, sacrificing everything is probably not worth it. Be very conscious of how you sacrifice and if you actually need to. Business isn't your entire life, so act accordingly. Understand that you need to prioritize other aspects. And the final thing I'm going to leave you with is you are where you are because of your standards. And there is no other reason. You are where you are because of your standards. And I've been going to the gym and I've been doing this and I've been doing that for the last 2 weeks. That's not your standard. That's your temporary standard. Turn it into your permanent one and you'll see it will catch up. Because I can make the same excuse. I've been locked in for the past month. I'm not where I want to be physique-wise. I've progressed. But now it's turning it into a permanent standard. For you, it's just a temporary thing. But I will say, ego will impact that heavily. Your standard will be impacted by your ego. And you're going to have to learn this. Like, I hate to say it, but a lot of this entrepreneurial stuff I preach and a lot of this philosophy stuff that I've been learning, ego is going to be the biggest thing holding you back. When you get complacent, you're going to realize it's ego. I got complacent recently. I didn't realize it was for months. And it was complacency through subconscious ego. And what I mean by that is I stopped developing my skill set and my knowledge because I already thought I was doing well. So I would stop watching YouTube videos where YouTube videos were my main source of information for a long period of time. But I stopped watching and I didn't even realize. Be conscious. Let yourself think. You'll see how quickly you find the patterns and the problems and the circumstances and the situations and things you didn't even see before. So yeah, I'll leave you with that. Do you have any comments on any of that? Feel free to comment below. If there's anything you want me to kind of talk about, feel free to let me know below as well. I'm happy to entertain. I want to turn this more to a philosophy style channel where I talk about my ideology on things because I really enjoy talking about philosophy stuff and I want to attract people like that. But then also be able to refer back to business and growth because I realized that a lot of it is mental. For you to have something physically, it must first exist mentally, as neuroKnowledge says. But it is very true. The difference, manifestation on a non-voodoo level is just so much blatant, ignorant self-conviction that it works. Bill Gates says some of the most successful people he knows are, how did he say it? Bill Gates said some of the most successful people he knows are borderline delusion. And I think that's how you need to be. And you hear it all the time, and it's a cliche saying, but if it's cliche, it's probably because a lot of people believe it to be true. But depending on how I articulate it to you is how you perceive it. So I tell you, if you believe you can do something, or more importantly, more powerful is to say, if you believe you deserve something, it is a matter of time before you will get there if you are hungry enough to get it. But you cannot believe you deserve something if you don't even believe you can have it. You get to the point of, why don't I have it? And then you're like, hold on, I deserve to have it. And then you get it. You have a lot to endure. And I wish you luck with your entrepreneurial journey, or whatever it is you're pursuing in life. Yeah. Enjoy the rest of the videos. Peace.